Hey, Chris Liepe here with how to get intense paint-peeling screams with a hint of a note in there. Sing screaming. Funny, I've been doing this technique for a while, but in my recent work with Will Ramos, he's been guiding me through how to growl pitchless screams, sigh into things. By looking again at sighing, that actually helps this pitch screaming idea as well. So we're going to break down this sing-scream approach into 3 steps. And before you do anything else, make sure you're properly warmed up. Will has helped me a lot with this as well. Click the link below and enjoy Will's free warm-up course. He shows you how to warm up completely for the extreme harsh vocal sounds that you're going to be doing. And this is definitely one of them. Step 1. Sigh, just like we were doing with Will, but have an attentiveness to what your head voice is doing. I'm going to let my voice break as it sighs. But instead of going completely into that upper constriction false chord engagement, like I was doing with Will, think about my head voice. And then I'm going to pay attention to whatever note I happen to be putting behind that, behind the upper constriction. You see, this thing is actually happening slightly underneath with my primary chords, and then the false chords are going over that. So we're separating what's happening with our true chords with what's happening with our false chords. And it seems like they're happening at different times, but here's the thing. This is another thing that will kind of help me think about differently. As you add compression to this, compression again is lifting something heavy, holding air back. It's engaging this upper constricted area of our throat in a slightly different way than the sigh. We're combining the 2 approaches. So, and then try to compress that. I'm sighing and compressing at the same time. And I'm not trying to remove my primary chord engagement. Instead, I'm trying to accentuate it. The next thing is we want to choose a note and we want to practice singing it cleanly. You don't feel a thing. You don't feel a thing. You don't feel a thing. I'm going to sigh into that note now. You don't feel a thing. And then I went into my mixed, very clean. But now, and this is step 2 in your quest for sing screaming, take that clean note, sigh into it, and try sighing out of it. Just as you're sighing out of it, kick in the compression. Now, you're going to feel your pitch go down, you're going to feel it all mess up. But as you add the compression back, think that note that you just had. Yeah! And you have that note. Yeah! And you have all that beautiful breakup as you learn the timing and balance of both sighing in and then sighing slightly out of it as you compress. There are these interesting steps and balances that help you get this just right with enough practice and enough introspection on how things feel. Now, here's step 3. Let it falter. Because if we try to compress too much to get too consistent of a sound, we will lose our ability to retain that note. We want to be on the edge. And if you listen to me do this, you can hear these inconsistencies. If I compress too much, it ends up doing this. We kind of lose the note altogether, and then it begins to sound like something without any sort of note at all. Our primary chords can't quite keep engaging. It begins to sound more like that, which is an awesome thing, but it's not really what we're going for. Letting it falter, going in between a little bit cleaner and a little bit more broken up and constantly feeling out that balance as you're doing it, especially as you're holding a note out, is just fine, especially when, and this is what we have to think about a lot, especially when we are putting it into some sort of production. When you've got audio compression, delay, a little bit of distortion on your track, and it's sitting in a mix, you end up hearing the sparkle of what's happening with your voice, and you don't hear the inconsistencies as much. Listen to my scream in context. Now that I've talked about it a little bit, you can probably hear those inconsistencies, which actually gives it character. Let me solo it out. And then turn off the delay and the reverb. By the way, and compression. I'm using the Howard Benson plugin here to get a lot of my sound, in addition to, as you can see, just pegging it on the way in with preamps and using limiting and compression on the way in. Now, listen as I solo it and turn off the effects, how volatile it is. Especially as I change pitch a little bit, I'm going in and out, and that is totally fine. If we think loose and faltery on this, we'll have more air so we can hold things out longer. If we think precision and got to get a certain tone and we're not letting our voice do what it does as we feel those balances, we're not going to be able to hold things out very long. We're going to end up using too much air and not feeling that balance the way we need to. I hope this was helpful. Again, make sure you're good and warmed up before you try any of this stuff. And if you want a great way to warm up, it's certainly been helping me out. Click the link below and join Will Ramos's free Warmups course. We'll see you for more.